Big Papi! Big Papi!
Hard hit into right. Back at the wall. Tie game!
There are many different strings that tie together the story of the designated hitter, which began with an idea from Philadelphia athletics manager Connie Mack in the 1906 season, and might have been inspired by the hitting prowess of Babe Ruth. The idea was met with a lot of resistance in the beginning to maintain the traditions of the game. Further attempts were made in the 1920s by the NL president, John Haidler, to introduce a 10th man to the lineup. It took to the end of the decade for the National League clubs to try it out during the 1929 spring training games. Fast forward to 1973, and the Oakland A's owner, Charlie O. Finley, with 7 other AL owners, gave a majority vote of 8-4 to approve a 3-year trial run of the designated hitter from 1973 to 1976. On April 6, 1973, Ron Blomberg from the New York Yankees became the first official designated hitter in Major League Baseball history. In the first year of it being implemented, the American League saw an increase in overall batting averages, and the rule has stuck ever since. The rise in offensive production also created a game that more people wanted to see, boosting attendance. The National League continued to resist implementing a designated hitter all the way up until the 2022 season. But before that was the era of the best designated hitter of all time. Initially, he was drafted by the Seattle Mariners with his name listed as David Arias, using his mother's last name. This started some naming confusion after he was acquired by the Twins. Recalling what happened, A.J. Przinsky said, "We traded for him and we got David Arias. But when he showed up in the spring, he was David Ortiz." I was like, wait a minute, did we trade for the wrong guy? This confusion lingered into his days in Boston, where he was having trouble learning the names of his teammates. So he started calling David Papi. His teammates liked it, and that's how the nickname Big Papi started. Dominican Republic native David Ortiz had a tumultuous beginning to his MLB career. When he got his first professional exposure out in Minnesota, he only logged in a total of 111 game appearances from 1997 to 1999. The following 3 seasons, 2000 through 2002, were the first time that Ortiz was able to put in a full-time schedule of games, playing first base part-time and focusing on hitting from the Twins' designated hitter spot. In 2003, he was suddenly let go by the Twins and ended up running into Pedro Martinez in a restaurant in the Dominican Republic. Pedro called Theo Epstein, Boston GM at the time, and the rest is history. The Boston Red Sox acquired him to upstart their offense, and as a franchise that hadn't seen playoff success since the days of Babe Ruth, some were saying they were cursed. His first year in the Red Sox, he was 5th in MVP voting and had a .288 batting average, over 125 hits, 31 home runs, and drove in 101 RBIs. Now, we know why people were calling him Papi, but as for where the big came from, legend has it that New England Sports Network broadcaster, the late Jerry Remy, once went up to him and said, "You're a big guy. Do you mind if I call you Big Papi?" And he told him, "No, I like that." The name stuck ever since then, becoming the infamous nickname we all know him by. Remember, he's 6'3" and weighed in at over 250 pounds. After his first season playing at Fenway, his career entered into a 4-year stretch where we got to see him play his best baseball. Each year saw over 100 runs scored, besides the 94 runs he got during the 2004 season. They also all had over 160 hits, and in 2006, he had a career-best 54 home runs, along with 119 walks. His 2005 season boasted a career high of 148 RBIs, while also scoring a career-high 119 runs himself. At that time, he was the heart and soul of the 04 team that had seen the second longest streak in baseball for a team without winning a World Series, 84 years to be exact. That year, they brought that streak to an end, breaking the infamous Curse of the Bambino and making Big Papi the ALCS MVP for that year. He was also part of the Boston team that won the 07 World Series. Even more impressive was the fact that he was awarded a Silver Slugger Award for each of those seasons, in addition to an equal number of All-Star appearances, and also finished in the top 5 in MVP voting. He was selected as an All-Star 10 times over the course of his career, while also getting 7 Silver Slugger awards. And he was a part of another World Series run in 2013, where he won MVP in the championship finale. During that matchup against the St. Louis Cardinals, he hit .688 in 24 at-bats and had an incredible 1,948 OPS, on top of his 7 runs scored and 6 driven in, accounting for 13 of the total 27 runs scored by the Red Sox. He had 11 of the overall 41 hits, 2 were doubles, and another 2 were home runs, and he was walked 8 times during that series. In many people's opinion, he's the greatest clutch hitter of all time. 2004 and 2013 are probably the most incredible seasons of his amazing career. In 2004, a legend was born. You had to be a fan at that time and that place to really experience what was going on in Boston. Despite being down 3-0 against their rivals in the playoffs, the Red Sox and Big Papi did the impossible and made a comeback from that deficit. Something like that was never replicated ever again, as of 2023 at least. David was a key player in that comeback, hitting walk-offs multiple times. In 2013, a clutch moment that'll be remembered for many years was a grand slam that evened the score in the 8th inning in the ALCS Game 2. With 2 outs, he sent Joaquin Benoit's fastball flying, and also sent his good friend Torrey Hunter flying over the fence, along with the ball, as he was attempting to stop Ortiz, but he failed and injured himself in the process. This moment was so exciting that the security guy forgot about the safety of Hunter and instead raised his arms in the air to celebrate Ortiz.
Hard hit into right, back at the wall, tie game!
Just more proof about Big Papi arguably being the greatest clutch hitter in the game. Then, in 2022, the same year the NL finally decided to adopt the designated hitter, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Today, David Ortiz becomes the 4th Dominican-born member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
We've got the numbers. Let's look into some of the career statistics for the GOAT of the designated hitter position. For his regular season stats, he's got a .286 career batting average, with it being .332 in 2007. He's made 2,472 hits, with 169 of those being when he was 40 years old. There's 651 doubles and 541 home runs. 38 of those also made when he was 40. He drove in 1,768 RBIs, 127 of those when he was 40, and had a career slugging percentage of .552. It was .636 in 2006 and .620 even at the age of 40. For his playoff stats, he's got a .289 batting average, 88 total hits, 61 runs batted in, and he's crossed the plate 51 times in 85 appearances. His world-class humor and friendly Caribbean personality made him a clubhouse and fan favorite, on top of being a household name in the world of sports. David Ortiz will go down as the best designated hitter in the early 2000s era, and will be mentioned in conversations about the best clutch hitters and designated